Hello, I'm Chris Williams from Read Comics They're Bad For You, the name of my YouTube channel. Or if you're watching this on BitChute or Library, the name of my channels on those two websites is Comic Freak. We're going to be talking about how Rey patches Luke's X-Wing with his hut door, We're going to talk about how the writer of the novelization of The Rise of Skywalker doesn't really seem to care about how the, main character repairs a X-Wing fighter just because she can, because she's a woman. That's what the novelization to TROS tells us anyway, according to Screen Rant. It was old tech, the novel starts, and it had taken some fast thinking and even faster fingers to get it flight weather. The wing patched with the door to Luke's hut, shield panels scavenged from the TIE wreckage, and a hefty amount of rewiring. So let's go through this stupidity of this idea. First, the storytellers can't keep it straight if it was his T-65B X-Wing Starfighter, Red 5, or if it was the newer T-70 X-Wing Starfighter. It would be kind of silly if Luke flew the newer T-70 to Arc 2 20 or 30 years earlier, wouldn't it? Time travel would make this less stupid than the submerged X-Wing morphing from one model to another. Now let's consider the fact that the X-Wing Either model was supposedly submerged for decades. There's a new science called archaeology, which is essentially aviation archaeology. Archaeologists dig up old aircraft in Europe, which were drowned during dogfights. They also look at aircraft that crashed and submerged underwater. So what happens to a craft that's been submerged underwater for decades? Well, as we get into it, it doesn't or can't possibly ever fly again. Luke's X-Wing on Dagobah had been submerged for a matter of days or weeks, so lifting it out of the water and getting it ready for flight stretches the imagination, but is reasonable. A craft that had been underwater for decades would be impossible to fly even if you could get it out of the water. Firstly, the metal would start to simply disintegrate, compromising the integrity of the wings and fuselage. Underwater currents would take smaller parts of the craft away to unfindable places in the deep. Oceanic life forms would be growing on it. It's ridiculous to think it would be possible to fly such a vehicle, even if a scrapper knew how to repair it. Some of the dumber people in the audience might say, but Itchy, it's a fairy tale and not a documentary. But remember, one of the reasons that Star Wars stuck such a chord with its audience was its realism. They used the universe concept. When they created the dogfights, they didn't just make things up on the top of their heads. They looked at old World War II footage of dogfights to model theirs. After this is why the original films were so believable to the audience and stayed with them for decades, and why Disney material is laughable, forgettable trash. It's not the audience's fault that the new creators have to force Diz canon to conform to their own stupidity. Now let's consider the patching of the wing with the door to Luke's hut on Arc 2. Let's put aside for the moment that this part would have been ground down around the edges after decades of being opened and closed. In this canon, this door supposedly came from Luke's drowned X-Wing according to Wikipedia. Luke's hut was a gray stone hut made of several pieces of rock. The door was made from Luke's X-Wing, and it served as the home of Jedi Master Luke Skywalker after he went into exile, following the destruction of his Jedi temple at the hands of his nephew Kylo Ren. So wouldn't this part have to go back where it came from instead of just being slapped onto the wing? And how was it attached to the wing anyway? How would it stay attached to the wing without welding it in place? Wouldn't the atmosphere blow it away as it flew into the sky? You might as well use Bondo. Yeah, there's no realism here. You can just see it the way it's written down. And then there's the TIE fighter nonsense. How would parts from one craft just magically fit in another craft? Hell, you'd be lucky if one of them didn't have metric parts. Then you'd really be screwed. Not to mention their flight methods are completely different. TIE stands for Twin Ion Engine, and the wings are solar panels. The X-Wing fighter utilizes none of these mechanisms for its flight. It would be like using parts from a jet engine to repair a Cessna propellers. And what shielding would Rey use from the TIE fighter? The solar panels wouldn't make great shielding. The fuselage is completely curved and spherical, meaning that any shielding would have to be slapped onto the mostly flat panels of the X-Wing. It's as though these disc-canon writers literally know nothing about anything, but that's what you get when you base your hiring practices on melanin content, genitalia, and political conformity, rather than merit, intelligence, and talent. Yeah, that explains it all. They didn't hire anyone who knows anything about Star Wars to write these novels. They know nothing about what they're doing, and this is stupid. You have a novel that makes no sense technically, with the writer just making stuff up on the fly. This is despicable. It's one more example of how Disney is destroying Star Wars once again. If you like this video, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube is going around unsubscribing people. So make sure you're still subscribed. If you're watching my videos but you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. Then go over to BitChute and Library and subscribe to my channels on those two websites. They're both named Comic Freak. Hit that bell for notifications. Hit that like button and leave some comments down below. And if you could you also please share this video, share it on Twitter, share it on Reddit, and share it on Facebook. Share it anywhere you think it'll do the most good, because YouTube is not going around promoting their own YouTube creators anymore. So please share this video. Now listen closely. It's that time of the day again. Please keep checking back in all my future videos for more information on my own upcoming independent comic book scumdogs. I'm Chris Williams, and I'll be back again tomorrow with another video or review.